So Minecraft introduced a whole brand new game mechanic, and now there's a mob that you can find exclusively by cleaning with the brush. This is wild because it's not a spider or a dust bunny or anything like that. Instead, it's a whole dinosaur, which for many raises more questions than it answers. But today I want to give you a full guide to how you get every single one of these 63 different items, some of which are duplicates from the rest of the game, and some of which are exclusive to Archaeology. And I'm going to be doing it today because this is your ultimate guide to... yeah, Archaeology. And we're going to start with the first and most important part of this, which is how you get your hands on one of these brushes. Every single part of Archaeology is going to require this brush, even the parts that updated existing structures, so you need to get your hands on a stick. Pretty easy, a copper ingot, relatively easy too, and a feather, which is going to require some murdered chickens, I've got to say, but if you're, or indeed parrots if you feel like being exotic, but this means that if you get these three items together, you can have a brush. A brush is an item that has durability, but the durability is only used if you use it on suspicious gravel or suspicious sand. In fact, this is an item that is pretty much only useful for these two circumstances, so if you find suspicious sand or suspicious gravel, you need to use a brush on it. You might be tempted to grab yourself a shovel and bring it back for later, where you can later do that, but here's what happens if you try. Oh, it just feels so bad. It's the sound of breaking glass, but it's the sound of an archaeological find being lost forever. Now, what's fun about this is actually if you do brush a block, you can see what is going to be in there before you get rid of it. And so if you just really don't care for, say, this item right here, then you could theoretically break the block before it's done, and then you could deliberately lose the wooden hoe, because no one wants that, let's be honest. Anyway, there are several structures that do have suspicious sand and gravel, and each archaeological structure will have its own loot table for those blocks, so not every suspicious sand is created equal, because the desert temple, which used to have one secret room, you might be familiar with it, it's a little explodey if you get the wrong mobs in there, so I've removed mine, but there is one regular room in the desert temple, but now there is a second, which you can find by simply going to the back. There is now some sand that you can find here, and the goal of Archaeology is to brush through the sand without breaking any of this suspicious sand. But again, if you do brush it, you'll be able to find, oh, what's that? A diamond, as well as emerald, as well as TNT, and all sorts of pottery shards. These can be combined together to make pots, which is a fun way to create stories from Archaeology, or a fun waste of an item depending on how creatively inclined you are. But in either case, the desert temple is now a place not just to explode, but theoretically to explode some archaeological finds too, which is what I believe history is all about. Speaking of what history is all about, I mean, really, history is all about taking it and putting it in a museum, and then when people ask for it back, saying, no, I don't want to do that. But you know what else is all about that? The desert well. This is another structure that got updated, and again, it's the same suspicious sand block, but if it generates in a desert well, instead of being able to get diamonds, you can get bricks, which I actually think is a bit of a downgrade personally. That's my controversial take. Anyway, suspicious sand is also different if you find it in a warm ocean ruin. If you go fishing in, if you go brushing in a warm ocean ruins, you'll find fish, unsurprisingly. But if you go brushing in one of these, finding these suspicious gravel blocks, you can find a different set of shards, which is great. You can find an iron axe, which is confusing at the bottom of the sea, but you can also find this. What is that? It looks like a sniffer egg to me. This is incredibly useful, and between this and the cold ocean ruins, you really are going to want to come underwater specifically to make sure that you get your hands on these. This is a weird looking egg. It's one of 3 that exists in Minecraft, and all of them are incredibly different to each other, the ones that you can place, I should say. But still, this is crucially the only mob that you'll ever find from Archaeology, and what's fun about it is the lore explanation that sniffers are a mob that have long gone extinct, but you can somehow find their eggs in the ruins, and then you can place them down and even bring them back to life. This will take some time, and it does look like you're meant to be getting a red Yoshi, but it's fun because there are 3 placeable eggs in Minecraft, and none of them look anything like the others, but still, I love them. Also, I love the fact that you can actually break this. It's meant to be an egg, but it's not fragile in the slightest. Explains how it lasted all those millions of years, and also, it's worth pointing out that the warm ocean ruins are only one type of ruin, because this is a loot type you'll find over here, but crucially, you'll find the same loot table, just missing one item, over in the cold ocean ruins. This is the same loot table, just with different pottery shards, and with the sniffer egg replaced by another one, so if you love pots more than sniffers, come to the cold ocean. I mean, you'll find all sorts of great loot, like the wooden hoe. Okay, no, you won't. But ultimately, this is the choice you have to make. Which of these structures do you want to go to is based on the loot you want to find, or you can just do the discovery of finding it and picking up the bits as you go along, because the completionist in me tells me that you have to go to all of these structures, which includes the granddaddy of archaeological structures, the Trail Ruins. This is found in these biomes, and you'll see it looking like this on the surface, and if you go down below, you'll find a bunch of blocks that lead to more blocks that can lead you to more suspicious gravel. I've uncovered it here to make it easier to see, but this is usually surrounded fully by stone, which makes it a bit of a crazy one, because think about just how many blocks you're going to find, some of which you're not expecting, like bricks and campfires, and indeed just how much suspicious gravel you're going to find, which means you'll also be finding a ton of loot. And explaining that loot can be tricky, but I figured, you know, why not actually explain this the best I can do? And so brick loot die candles and the hanging signs here don't want this dark wood hoe or these gloss paint so clear. The trims are really good and the lead helps you to steer, so brush it, just brush it. The Discord relic is a really good one, although the wheat, the string seeds are really not so fun. The gold nugget and emerald will not weigh a huge ton, so brush it. If you really want to stun, just brush it, brush it, brush it, brush it. No one wants this pot, admit it. Maybe you'll get a weird coloured dye. If we're all honest, we want this guy. So brush it, just brush it, brush it. I have no idea what overcame me just there, but I can tell you that yes, the decorated pots will store an item for you if you need them for that. This is one of the, also they'll have a billion different variants, just like how fireworks do. So if you like to have a customized item, the pot's here for you, but otherwise I agree with whatever I said in that haze I just went over, because ultimately I think that Minecraft is a game that is about customization, and so if you want to get the granddaddy off it, this is the structure for you, or a bunch of worthless loot. But that is the fun thing about archaeology, is you don't always find things that are worthwhile. Sometimes you find sniffer eggs, and as someone who loves to be mean to Minecraft's voted mobs, because you know, I think democracy is just the worst form of government besides all others that have been tried, and so as a result I think that the sniffer was not the best choice, but it is here. And so how do you get it? Place the sniffer egg anywhere, let it hatch within 20 minutes, and then you can even actually place it on moss to get that down to 10 minutes, but then you will eventually get this guy. He starts as a baby, eventually becomes the biggest, most ludicrous mob that looks like it has two faces. This is his eye over here on the right, but it looks so much like this is his face, right? I can't be the only one that pictures him that way, but in either case, this is the baby sniffer coming out of his egg, and there are lots of fun things that the sniffer does. I'm just kidding, he does two things. So sniffers can dig through dirt to find these two items. This is a pitcher pod. This is something you can plant down if you want to, and these are torchflower seeds. These can also be planted down, just like the pitcher pods. This is what a pitcher pod grows into. Very handy for cyan dye, of all things, one of the only natural ways to get that. And then there is the torchflower, which is useful for the much less, or the much more common orange dye. Or you can use the torchflower seeds to get this, give it to your, again, if you have yourself a sniffer, you can give them some of these, and then they will fall in love. Two sniffers falling in love means you can get more sniffers, and once you've done that, the benefit is, I guess, not having to do archaeology again. But otherwise, yeah, the sniffer exists so you can find ancient plants, and these are those ancient plants. Well, I mean, this is one of the ancient plants, and I turned the other one into cyan dye, but otherwise, that is kind of it. The other things that are worth knowing are on the kind of periphery here, but sniffers will dig through any of these blocks, and also, crucially, the brush can be enchanted. You can put mending and you can put unbreaking on it. This is what I have done in my survival world. Do I recommend doing it for you? Well, do I recommend doing anything? Yes, actually. I think that archaeology is one of the most fun mechanics in Minecraft, because as much as people like to make fun of it, can you tell that people like to make fun of archaeology? As much as people like to make fun of it, I think that it's actually a great way to encourage a slower form of gameplay that feels like you're doing something unlike the rest of Minecraft. I think that people like fast and flashy and big, but actually sometimes it's fun just to go through a structure, brushing and then shoveling, and making sure you pay just the right amount of attention, fun while having a very chill time, and ultimately I love the trail ruins for providing that. I've spent hours going through these things, and I actually have loved all of it. So even if I don't love the trims, I think they're some of the weakest ones, even if Relic is a decent disc but not my overall favorite, I still think that spending some time in a trail ruins is something that if you've never done, you should give a try to. Also, look at this armor stand holding a gold nugget. This makes perfect sense. Just like how archaeology makes perfect sense as something that you should try out if you want a sniffer, if you want to be a completionist and collect all the pottery shards, or if indeed you just want to have a little bit of a chill time in Minecraft, and don't we all want that? I mean, certainly after going into a cave like this, we should. But with that said, I hope you all enjoyed today's ultimate guide. If you did, don't forget to check out the rest of the series. Thank you to Chris for putting together this world, and indeed for putting some, hopefully, music behind my loud, sing-songy rambling. And I look forward to seeing you next time, where I won't be impaled by a stalagmite. Goodbye!